Welcome back, and joining me for a closer look of the day's trading session is Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities. Thank you so much for your time, Faheema. Very, very interesting moves that we're seeing on the markets. The JSE above that 100,000 point level. The Rand also coming back from that 18 Rand level against the US dollar, now just under 17 Rand 80. Just based on how the local market has performed today, all the strength that we're seeing, is the local market just shrugging off the elevated risk in the economic environment, particularly ahead of the 7th of August?
Good evening, Zanati. Thanks for having me. Yes, I think it's exactly that. The JSE is just following global markets higher. Like you said, we saw stronger European and Asian markets today. US equity futures were also up. I think the market is reacting more favorably to the weaker US jobs report that we saw this week. And also today, the US service sector activity data was weaker than expected. So that's just increasing the expectations of the rate cut to come in September in the US. And yeah, I think in general, just largely shrugging off the impact of the tariffs so far.
Yeah, and yeah, as we're talking about tariff talk, we've had actually a number of announcements on chips and on pharmaceuticals. I actually did see that Aspen was down more than 2%. Is that because of the threat from Donald Trump?
Yes, I think pharmaceutical companies have largely just been caught up in this, and that's probably contributing towards that also somewhat, just the negative sentiment. But looking at the semiconductors, we are seeing a lot of pressure there from the likes of AMD. The results there do reflect what pressure these restrictions are having when it comes to exporting some of the key chips to the Chinese markets. There's also no really way forward in terms of determining when those exports can resume for those chips. If you look at the likes of NVIDIA, though, they, I think, were more fortunate to come to some kind of an agreement on their H20 chips with the government there to ensure that exports resumed. But I believe Trump is close to reaching an agreement with China on the tariff situation. So hopefully there will be some, relief for exporters of the chips in the US.
All right. Well, Faheema, let's get into more company news. Glencore releasing its half-year report today. Revenue flat, but adjusted core profit dipped 14%, and the loss per share widened. The stock did plunge over 5%. Valid reaction from the market?
Yes, I think so. So it does look like it was impacted by the weaker coal price that was down more than 20% over the past year. And they also had some trouble with the copper production from various mines across the world. So it looks like production was impacted in Chile, Peru, also the DRC. So that resulted in a fall of 14% in their EBITDA, and debt levels also increased there. So I think it's been quite a tough environment for Glencore and also other diversified miners to operate in, given the weaker coal price. But hopefully they will be able to see some recovery in the next half, given the stronger outlook for the coal price.
Well, not a tough environment for Quilter. It came out with interim results today. Total assets under management and administration rising 6%. And we also saw growth from the top to the bottom line. Also that dividend increasing by 18%. How good were these numbers?
Yeah, so I think it looked pretty good, particularly seeing strong performance from the affluent and high net worth segments, assets under management increasing by 6%. Looks like that was just boosted largely by market performance from the European and UK markets, but also the core net inflows increasing by about 8%. But it does look like they are expecting costs to increase in the second half because they are focusing on growth and so forth. So looks like growth could be largely flat in the second half. Maybe I think that's why we're not maybe seeing much of a reaction in the price.
Well, talking about growth, Sirius Real Estate really gunning for a lot of growth. I feel like every week we have an announcement from the company as they are really gaining momentum on their acquisition trail. Today, they announced acquisitions of business parks in Germany and the UK. What do you make of these opportunities that the company is finding?
Well, I think it's going really well, and the market's definitely liking it. If you look at the share price, it's already up about 35% year to date, also was higher today. And yeah, it looks like these new acquisitions have largely been concluded. The one is in its biggest market, Germany, the other one in the UK for industrial parks and also a business park. It does seem to align with its strategy to grow in those markets and also to get more exposure to the defense sector. And it looks like these acquisitions will immediately be cash generative, so providing pretty good entry yields as well. And just looking at the dividend yield at Sirius in general, it's now at around 5.2%, which I think is still attractive, considering the exposure we're seeing there to Germany and to the UK.
We're talking about good entries. Where are you finding opportunity today, Faheema, your stock pick?
So I'm looking at Nampak. So Nampak is the largest manufacturer of beverage cans in South Africa and Angola. In the past, Nampak's expansion into Africa was quite problematic. It left the business quite highly indebted. But now, we've seen a big reorganization of that business. It's brought down the debt significantly from about 6 billion rand a few years ago to just 3 billion rand now. Looking at the recent results, revenue growth, trading profit was also much higher. So the current CEO is expected to step back, but I think Andrew Hood, who will be taking over, and is now the COO, has been well prepared to run the business from there. And looking at it from a valuation perspective, I think trading at an attractive forward PE of 5.5 times, it still has significant upside, especially when you can compare to its global peers. It does look quite undervalued. So I do think there's more upside here, considering all the improvements that we've seen.
All right, lovely. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights on what has moved investors' money today, Faheema. Really appreciate it. That was Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities.